Yes, teacher, thank you very much. Everything's okay. And yours?
Everything just fine. Just fine. I had a conference call with my tutors the last week on
Hmm.
Friday in the morning. It was successful. And then I had to go to Guanímaro to talk with the director of the cooperative. And it was really good. Very good conversation. He gave me all his viewpoints on how to manage a cooperative, which is very different, Mickey, from the way you manage family-oriented enterprise or a personal enterprise. What do you think are the differences between how you manage a cooperative and how do you manage your personal enterprise?
Mm, well, first of all, I think that one of the main differences is that you need to have like a democratic, like member control. Like I think that it's not like a decision of just one person. It's a decision with a group of people.
Right, yes.
Um, what else?
Yeah, the decisions are taken by a group of people as compared to the decisions in your, I mean, how people take the decisions in other fields, right?
Yeah.
It's a group of people that make decisions, and that makes it more complicated as opposed to being the sole manager of your company. In your business, you are the only one who makes the decision. Yeah, you can listen to advice, recommendations, suggestions
Hmm.
of other people, right? But when
Yeah.
it comes to making important decisions, it's your sole responsibility.
Yeah, it is true. Hmm.
So that's one of the issues. And the other thing is, how does that situation impact the the you know what, my keyboard is not responding for some reason. I don't know what I did.
Mm,
How can I restore it? Let me see
let me check.
how to restore the keyboard because it's not responding. It's just clicking.
Uh, you can go to the Windows menu, and there's something called
Right.
like management of devices or
And then what?
administrador de dispositivos if it is in Spanish.
Edge word. Right.
Administrador de dispositivos, and
Yeah,
then
but the thing is that the keyboard, I cannot type anything on the keyboard because it just gives like a click, 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 click.
okay, let me.
Gosh, I don't know what I did. It's in configuration, problems. What was this? I don't know what I did.
Uh, is not the keyboard, well, on-screen keyboard activated, teacher?
On screenboard, no. Oh, it says, let me see. I don't know what I did that now any key on the keyboard sounds click, 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 and doesn't type anything.
Can you share like your screen, teacher?
Yeah, of course. Let's see. Share screen, window. Let's see. Window, right? The screen here. Share.
Mm, can you go to your like the main page of your laptop.
The main page,
Mm-hmm.
this one here,
Yeah. Uh, don't you have like like icons or something like that? It is completely empty.
icons. I don't know. Well, I can access the window from here. It says adjustment, configuración de sonido, Bluetooth dispositivos, Bluetooth and dispositivos. Maybe
Mm,
this one or not. Or
or well, what can you try to teacher? Don't worry, you can like restart the laptop and see if it works. If
restart
it
the
works.
laptop. Let me try, Mickey. Okay,
Yes.
there is a button here. It'll take me a moment. All right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Take your time, teacher.
thanks.
No problem.
Oh, restore. No, wait. Let me. I'm trying to do this with the button, but
It doesn't let you. Um.
let me see if I can restart it from here because
mm,
it just freezes it. I mean,
okay.
turning off a computer now is whole labor, a whole duty.
uh, uh,
This-
the mouse is not
Let's
responding
see.
either.
How do you restart the computer now? Because the mouse is responding. Yeah, the mouse works, but the keyboard does not respond. I don't know what key I pressed.
Mm, mm, mm.
Turns off the computer.
Where is like the Windows icon in your laptop, teacher? You
Here,
can put where I cannot see it.
here. Let me share it. Let
Mm-hmm.
me share it.
Because you can.
So pantalla here. Okay, sharing pantalla. And so the Windows icon here is in the bottom, and then configuration maybe, and
Mm,
then
I'm just seeing like a pink picture,
big picture. Oh,
like a
let's
pink
see.
picture.
Pink picture. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's strange. Let's see. Share. It says share, compartir pantalla, then compartir pantalla. Is pantalla de Chrome, ventana, pantalla completa. Okay, I think it's the whole window here.
Yeah.
Okay, now I think you can see everything. So I go to
Mm-hmm.
configuration,
Yeah, now I can.
and then system, or where? Accessibility, Windows customs applications, personal internet. System
You
is it?
can go to.
Start.
Uh, wait.
Maybe system.
Or can you try clicking Control plus Windows plus zero? Control Windows and zero.
Control Windows plus zero. No.
Okay. Can you search where you were before? Teclado en pantalla.
Here?
Can you write like teclado en pantalla in
Oh, here. Tecla pantalla.
Oh no, you can't.
No, no, I cannot type anything.
Mm-mm-mm.
Must be a way to turn this off.
So try to go to Bluetooth and devices, like the third menu.
Devices, Bluetooth and devices here.
Mm-hmm.
Oops.
Don't let you.
It doesn't. No, no, I cannot access. Gosh, let's see.
Okay, so let's try to restart it, teacher. It's weird. Um, I don't know why it appears like a big logo of Stranger in the back part of the of my screen, but you can go to the main page,
Right here, right?
and you're gonna see like the Windows logo.
Windows logo, yes.
Uh,
Oh, yeah,
and
I found it. Where
yeah,
it says reiniciar. Okay, I'll restart. I'll
yeah,
restart.
yeah.
Okay,
Try it, teacher. Don't worry.
it is going. Now it's doing it. It's going to take a minute, Mickey.
Yeah,
Thank you.
teacher.
Yeah.
Take your
All
time.
right. Restart anyways. I'm back. I'm back, Mickey.
Okay,
Can
teacher.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Now it's working.
Let me check. I'm gonna check the keyboard because I've been using the the mouse only.
The mouse. Mm-hmm.
I'll just work a bit on the word processor. Let's see. Now it's working. It's working back. Thanks, Mickey. Thanks very
Yeah,
much. It
no
worked.
problem, teacher.
Restarting the
Perfect.
computer. That was the way
Yeah, maybe you
to
click.
do it.
I don't know, a key in the keyboard and it deactivated. But well, now it's good that it is working again.
It's working back again. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Perfect. No
So
problem.
you were saying about your you had a good week, right?
Yeah, it was a good week. Actually,
And
my
I
mom
was
and my
thinking about my
brothers.
week too. I had
I think that there's like a little delay to teacher in the session. Um, yeah, I was
yes,
telling you that
Mickey. Yes.
it was a good week. It was
Oh, okay.
different because my
Can
mom
you
and my
hear me now?
yeah, I can hear you, teacher. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very clearly.
Perfect, teacher. Yeah, I was telling you that it was different because my mom and my brothers went to Vallarta, and I stayed here in home with with my dad. So
Oh,
it was different because I think that is the first time that my mom and my brothers go like for vacations to a place, and me and my dad we stay here in home. But it was good. The reason why my mom and my brothers went it was because Mish finished her career. She finished, so it was like treat with her friends, and obviously my mom uh, didn't let go her just by just by herself. So she went with her, and was good to share. They are happy. Other thing that happened is that my cat is sick. Uh, he has like little stones in the how you say kidney. Yeah, right.
Kidney stones, they are
Kidney
very
stone.
hurtful, they painful.
Yeah, yeah, they are. And the last 2 weeks has been difficult because we have taken him to the vet so many times. Obviously, he doesn't like it. And at the end, the vet told us that like his organism is making it this type of little stones. And yeah, he my cat couldn't how to say couldn't pee how to say like and yeah, it seems that horse horrible because he was almost screaming, and at the end he has surgery. In that surgery they opened the I don't know how to say vejiga in English, I forgot it.
The bladder, I think.
Bladder.
Bladder, I believe it's bladder.
Yeah, they opened the bladder, they remove those little stones, and a part of that, uh, imagine the bladder of a cat is little, but in this case it was huge because all the pee that was um, yeah, like mm, how I say, like storaging there, like
Right.
so yeah, it was a surgery of probably like 1 hour and a half, not too much, but for a cat, I imagine that is something that is something difficult. And well, now my mom and my brothers went to the beach, and I was like the one in charge to take care of my cat, and it was very difficult because he doesn't have like energy. It's difficult to give him the medicine because obviously he doesn't want. So I need to open his mouth
Oh,
and the medicine. And a part of that, it's supposed that at least 7 days he is gonna have like this issue where he doesn't want to do well. He doesn't want to pee, but at the end, he I don't know how to express it. Yeah, he just pee without notices. So the pee of a cat is a strong color. Imagine pee with
yeah.
it's horrible. So I need to clean. Well, thanks God, my mom and my brothers came yesterday in the night, so it's not just um, a work for me, for myself. Now we can share like responsibilities. But yeah, it has been like not, I would say like a hard week, but a different week.
I imagine. Well, yeah, always an additional responsibility can have a heavy toll on the family, in particular if you are not used to doing that very often, which is normal because a cat is seldom sick. It's one of the healthiest animals, I think. So, yeah, it's a pity. Poor kitten. It's a male cat.
Yeah, it's a male cat. And actually, the vet told us that normally in the past, because he's a little bit an older man, cats started to have like this type of disease after 8 or after 9 years. But now he told us that now cats after 3 years old start to developing this type of yeah, like stones because well, for the different how you say this, like components that the food of the animals has now. So yeah, it's
Right. Oh, poor kitten. Hopefully, it will recover.
thank you, sure.
Um, I have an interesting topic, um, which is also very practical in terms of application for commerce. Uh, so, for example, let me show you. These are the Incoterms. We have talked about the Incoterms other times.
Hmm.
And talking about the risk of transfer of goods, here is the group E, which is X works. It's just one item, one element. X works, right? So let's see what it says and which items do you consider can be sold X works? Let's take a look at this, Mickey, please, and discuss which ones you think can be sold X works.
Yes, sure. Group E, departure, seller's premises. X works, risk transfer, when the goods are made available to the buyer at the seller's premises, factory, warehouse, etc. Buyer bears all risk from this point onward, including during loading and transport.
Yeah, so if you need to unload the transport, the equipment into the truck or into the
Hmm.
low boy or into a crane or whatever, that's the risk of the client. So, what do you sell under these conditions? That all the risk is for the client, not for the manufacturer, Mickey.
Mm, well, uh, probably could be like machinery. I think so.
Machinery. Yeah, but for example, what type of machinery? Well, all kind of machinery, right?
Yeah.
Machinery.
Well, like auto parts, uh, like industrial machinery. I think so.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Now, if you were a client, would you accept to buy something X words in which all the risk is yours? Let's say that you purchase a dozen of tennis shoes, and they tell you, okay, Mickey, the dozen is here, but you need to come and pick it up or organize the transportation. Is that not a big hurdle for you? A big uh, hurdle, a problem? You say, oh, what a nuisance,
Yeah.
or yeah,
Yeah, I think that people who use this type of Incoterms, I think that must be people who knows logistics and who knows the risks that involves. I think that beginner wouldn't be something beneficial for him or for her. I think that the person who use this type of Incoterms must be someone who has, yeah, who has experience.
right. Yeah, that is true. Now, in some cases like FCA or FAC, like free carrier alongside is the first one. What happens in this case, and when would you use it like this, for example? Let's take a look at the group F, Mickey, please. Can we?
FCA, free courier, risk transfer. If delivery is at the seller's premises, risk passes when goods are loaded on the buyer's carrier. If delivery is at another location, example carrier's terminal, risk passes once goods are handed over the carrier.
Yeah. So you unload the transformer or the turbine or the ship or anything that you want to sell, normally a big machine, as you say, for example, a huge turbine, and then when the loading maneuver that can be risky, you probably you need a crane, is and probably obviously the manufacturer has a crane. So, okay, I'm gonna unload the turbine onto your transportation. That's my risk because I have the crane, I have the technicians, I have the personnel who are able to unload the big equipment, which is normally very heavy or very delicate, or there is some type of problem. In this case, if it is not packaged, like for example, a computer, you put it in a package, right? You wrap it. But
Yeah.
if it is a big equipment that doesn't need a wrapping or a protection, so when it is on the platform, let's say a low boy or another type of transportation, okay, now it's your equipment. Now it's your risk. What do you think of that, Mickey?
Well, I think that in comparison with Xworks, I think that it's a little bit more flexible
Yeah,
because at the end the seller uh, at least participate in the like in the final part of the logistic. I think so.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's still being like low risk for the seller. So I don't know. I don't know. I think that the difference between X Works and FCA is that in this case it requires like uh, how do you say this? Like,
Unloading maneuver, a maneuver to unload the equipment on the platform or on the transportation.
yeah, and apart of that, I think that it requires more uh, customs documents. I think so, right?
Well, about the documents, I don't know about that. It's only that you do the maneuver to put the equipment on the
Mm-hmm.
transportation. For
Okay.
example, if you're going to take it by a low boy, which is a cama baja that's going to be pulled by a train,
Mm-hmm.
well, you put it on the low boy, you put it on the platform, and now you take it. The risk of the transportation is your risk as a client, not the manufacturer's risk, right? Or if you're going to take it, for example, let's say that you go to Puebla, and in Puebla, you unload many Volkswagens that are going to go to Canada. If you do the quotation with FCA, free carrier, okay, now I unloaded the Volkswagens onto the Antonov 225. It's a huge cargo airplane. I think we had talked about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now the Volkswagens are unloaded on the Antonov 225. Okay, now I complied with my part of the deal. From this moment onwards, is the risk of the buyer.
Mm-hmm.
If the aircraft suffers an accident or a terrorist attack or a delay or a tornado or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
the buyer loses the merchandise, not me. Now is the buyer's merchandise
Mm. Okay.
because this is the Incoterm that we negotiated. Or the next one, for example, free alongside ship. We go to Manzanillo, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
the ship is just waiting on the port, on the deck. I mean, not on the deck, on the port. And then I bring that turbine that's going to go from Mexico, from Manzanillo, is going to go to, let's say, to Hawaii. The big turbine that was manufactured in Mexico is going to be placed next to the ship using the crane to place it on the deck of the ship is the client's responsibility.
Responsible.
Yeah. If the carrier or the owner of the crane or whoever makes a mistake and the equipment gets destroyed, he destroyed the client's turbine, not my turbine. Now it's the client's turbine because I placed it on the port next to the ship. Right?
Yeah. So in the moment that it's like maneuvering the merchandise, if there's a mistake or something, it is responsibility of the client, not of the seller, right?
Exactly, with FAC, FAS, exactly. But you can say, no, but I don't have the equipment, I don't have the machinery, I don't have the expertise, I don't know the technicians, I don't know the regulations, I don't know the time schedules that you guys have. Put it on board. So it's free on board. Okay, so I'm going to place it from the side of the port, from the side of the ship. I'm going to unload it to the platform in the deck of the ship. Okay, now
Mm-hmm.
it's free on board. I put it on the ship. It's being secured. It has all the cords, all the rails, everything is tightened.
Mm-hmm.
Now you take it. Now it's your transformer, Mickey or Mr. Canada or Mr. whatever. Right? Now is your transformer. The turbine is on the deck of the ship. Now, if there is a tornado, or there is a storm, or if a shark jumps and eats the turbine, which is silly, anything
Mm-hmm.
is your transformer or the government of Canada's transformer.
Okay, gotcha.
But I placed it on board, right?
Mm. Yeah. So in this case, they maneuver the merchandise until it's on board, but after that, is of the buyer's responsibility, right?
Exactly, exactly, exactly. But there is still a slight risk of suffering damage during the transportation because it's high sea and there are tides. The tides go up and down because of the gravity force of the moon or the tidal forces. So when the ship is on the in the ocean on route towards the other country, there is significant risk. It's not always because there are thousands of vessels and ships that come from China to Mexico and vice versa. But there is still certain risk. Whereas you diminish the risk with other Incoterms, the group C, let's go through it and see what the differences are. For example, what's the difference between CFR and CIF, in your opinion, Micky?
The difference between CFR
And
and
CIF?
CRP.
Yes.
Mm,
I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I don't know what it, oh, here. Oh, no, wait, what did I do? What did I do? No, let's see. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, here. Which is the difference between these four elements: CFR, CIF, CPT, and CIP?
mm, mm, mm.
For example, CFR, what did you pay as a client and what did I pay as a seller? In other words, who is the owner of the merchandise and who has made the different payments?
Well, here says that the risk transfer when goods pass the ship's rail at the port of shipment, same as FBO. Well, in this case is uh, buyer responsibility and the seller pays of the freight. But risk passes early. Mm, I'm not sure in this part. So they paid the freight, but the risks are for the buyer too. In this one.
Um, yes, yeah. Yeah, somebody pays the freight, the seller. I pay the freight, but is your turbine now, Mickey?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the ship is going to you. You are in Hawaii in this moment, and you
Mm-hmm.
wanted to buy a turbine from me. So I put the turbine on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
I paid for it, but it's your turbine. I paid for the turbine. I paid for the ship for the
For the
transportation,
freight.
but it's your equipment.
Okay. So
So
the
if something
responsibility is
happens,
of the
you
buyer.
you the client cannot say, "Oh, but you paid for it." Yeah, I paid for it, but it's your equipment.
Gotcha.
So it's still the risk of the buyer.
Mm-hmm. And the difference between CFR and CIF is that in this case, the seller must also pay for the insurance, right?
In CIF,
Uh-huh.
right? Exactly. So I pay for the insurance, but I pay for the insurance on your behalf. So I pay the money and says, okay, who is the owner of this equipment? Is Mr. Mickey Hernandez. But you are paying for the insurance. Yes, I pay for the insurance, but the equipment belongs to Mr. Mickey Hernandez. So it's still your equipment.
Mm.
But I pay for the transportation,
For
for
the
the
insurance.
freight, and for the insurance. I pay for it. I
Got it.
included in the quotation, of course. I'm going to pass the. Let me answer a mail because they forgot something.
Yes, sure. Don't worry.
Okay, I hope they just let me. Okay, All right. So that's cost insurance freight. Cost insurance and freight. Now, what happens with the CPT? Carriage paid to.
Can you scroll down a little bit, teacher? Because
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know, it appears like a big logo of strangers, and I cannot see the whole.
Oh, yeah. It's because of the way I'm sharing actually, let me do this. I'll put it here, or actually here. This is better.
Yeah, now I can see it.
What does it say in los comentarios? The StreamYard. Let's see. All right, there. I think.
Yeah, yeah, now I can see the whole page, teacher. Thank you very much. CPT, carriage paid to, risk transfer when goods are handed over to the first carrier, not necessarily at destination. Mm, okay, so in this case, the seller has like the responsibility uh, until the first carrier, but not necessarily the whole trip.
Yeah, because it can be a multimodal issue. For example, first, it can be on a platform. Then from the platform, the train can be unloaded on the ship. Then from the ship, goes crosses the Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific Ocean. Then it arrives in Hawaii or in Japan. And then in Japan, you offload it to another platform. Then from the platform can be taken to a power station or to a hospital, to somewhere, wherever, right? So it can be many things. It can be many things. So once I put it on the first carrier, the very first, now it's yours. I put it on the platform, or I put it on the train, I put it on the plane, the first one. If there are 3 or 4 or 10 intermodal transportations, all the way along is going to be the buyer's risk, not my risk. I put it on the first transportation. That's my risk, and my risk ends there. Oh, but there was there was a vandalism situation in the streets of New York. Well, that's the risk of the buyer. I'm not responsible for that, because I put it on the platform, the first carrier, and my risk finished there. What do you think? You agree with this transfer or responsibility, Mickey?
Well, in comparison than other Incoterms, I think that it's uh, a better option, but I think that there are other types of Incoterms that works better for the buyer, of course. Um,
Yeah, but
yeah.
I'm not saying that this is the best Incoterm that you can choose. No, all what I'm saying is, if we agree on this, this is the how it works. That's all I'm
Okay.
saying.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Understand.
Yeah. Do
Mhm.
you accept this Incoterm? You can say, well, once you place it in the first transportation, maybe you are the owner of Flecha Amarilla, and I
Yeah.
say, Mickey, I'm gonna send you this package. Has very sensitive merchandise. I'm gonna place it in the uh, how do you say this courier service? Flecha Amarilla.
Mhm.
And they're gonna send it from Leon to Mexico City, from Mexico City to Monterrey, then from Monterrey it's gonna go board into an airplane, and then from an airplane it's gonna go to Canada. Well, when I put this fine jewelry in Leon, the everything was fine. You see?
Mhm.
So if anything happened to the merchandise after that point, well, is the risk of the buyer.
Yeah.
That's
No.
CIP.
Mhm.
But I have to pay for the insurance, of course. That's my obligation. I paid for the insurance. Well, the merchandise was lost, well, but it was insured.
Yeah.
So it's just time what we're gonna lose, but not the money, right? Okay, and let's take a look at the last one, which is the safest for the buyer. What do you think about this, Mickey?
Mm. Group D, arrival, seller bears risk until destination. DPU, deliver at a place unloaded, formerly DAT. Risk transfer, when goods are unloaded at the named destination, example, buyer's warehouse or terminal. Mm,
Uh-huh.
Okay, so in this case, this Incoterms means that the responsibility of the seller is until it's on the destination, but it doesn't apply at the moment that they are like unloading the merchandise. So if there's a mistake or something occurs in the unloaded, is not of the it's not a seller's responsibility, right?
Exactly, exactly. And something very funny happened when I was working for Siemens. I think I told you the anecdote. They sent a transformer that had taken 3 years to build in Austria, and they sent it. They sent it by ship. It went from Austria to the port of Hamburg in Germany. Then, once it was loaded, it crossed the ocean, and then in the ocean, it was safe. It was offloaded from the vessel, not vessel. It was a huge ship. It was unloaded onto a platform. The platform traveled 3,000 kilometers in the US until it reached Omaha or Nebraska. I think Omaha. And then in the final route towards the platform where it was going to be placed for 30 years,
Yeah.
200 meters, the spring, it's like the damper or the amortiguador, the damper
Mm.
of the platform broke. It was the last transportation before placing it before unloading it. Right? And they lost $3 million with that in that maneuver and 3 years of work. Imagine.
Jeez. Wow.
It's obviously the buyer said, the seller said, I'm sorry there was an accident with your equipment. And the buyer said, no, there was an accident with your equipment. It
Wow.
was a huge dispute because of this Incoterm. And so it looks like it's not so important, but it's really important to be clear with the Incoterms.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, surely it was insured. It had insurance, and but who has to make the claims? Who's going to pay the deductible? In other words, it was a significant issue.
Well, bad luck.
Right. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
$2 million.
Yeah.
A
Exactly.
mistake. An expensive mistake.
Yeah. Well, it was an accident. Yeah.
Yeah.
But how can you know? Well, just by securing yourself using the correct Incoterm, the safest Incoterm. And here in this case, seller bears risk until destination. So that's why you want to choose Group D as a buyer. If you're a buyer, like with Estafeta and other courier services, you want the merchandise in your house. If it is lost before, is the risk of the seller. What do you think about this system, Mickey?
Well, of course, it's better for the buyer, but at the end, the seller has like the maximum responsibility
And risk? Yeah,
and
yeah, of
risk.
course,
Yeah.
of course, of course. How do you sell your merchandise? How do you sell the different elements that you sell? Ex works, they need to come to your house and pick it up, or your office, or you are responsible until the point of destination, or
Uh, well, normally what I do is that when I'm sending something to other state or other city, um, my clients don't know, but I increase a little bit the price to pay an insurance because in that case, well, probably the client isn't gonna have like the merchandise, but at the end, his money is not lost. So I always try to insurance all the things that I send because one time uh, I lost the packages, and that package was um, I think the air cost is like 8,000 pesos. And obviously DHL and all those companies protect themselves, so they have a lot of uh, like these little wars that people never never see. And yeah, so at the end I always try to insurance everything. uh, mhm, I do it in the
that's the best thing, right?
yeah.
What is the cost of insuring something? You want to insure something? What is the cost of the insurance?
Well, is based of the total of the merchandise. For example, it's not too expensive. I remember the last package that I sent. The cost was 11,000 pesos, and the insurance for those 11,000 pesos was of 120 pesos. So yeah, it's pretty cheap, to be honest.
You pay for the a percentage like 5%, 3% of the cost of the merchandise, or how's the pay? The rate, more or less.
Yeah, it's based of the total of the how do you say this? Yeah, of the total of the merchandise.
Total amount. Okay.
Of the total amount. Teacher, can you
I
just wait
see.
me 1 minute?
Of
Someone
course.
came to the house and I need to receive it.
Of course. Take your time. Take your time.
Thank you, teacher.
No problem.
Sorry, teacher. It was a
Don't worry,
confusion
Mickey. No problem.
of the person, but now I'm here back.
Excellent. No problem. No problem.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So the trade has many interesting elements. One of the elements, besides the negotiation and the agreements and terms and conditions, commercial terms and conditions, is the technical part, which is the Incoterms, right? What you agree with the client when you sell him something. And so, what are the elements in a proposal, in a technical proposal that you normally manage besides the price? What are the, let's see, terms and conditions negotiated with clients? Terms and conditions, commercial terms and conditions, of course. That you manage in a quotation, which are the elements that you manage besides the delivery terms? What is that you manage? Obviously, price, right?
Yeah, price.
Well, price. Taxes included or not included?
Yeah, included.
Taxes included. But which taxes, right? Because it's the value added, the added
VAT.
value added tax or not? The VAT, right?
Mm-hmm.
Value added tax included. Okay, duties, import tax, state tax, normally other duties like other duties, state tax, federal tax, etc., are not included. Well, normally you would quote like this because normally you don't know what internal taxes they need to pay, right?
Yeah.
When are you going to deliver the merchandise? Well, the delivery date, right? So you promise to deliver the merchandise within the next 2 weeks? Well, the next 2 weeks. But some companies, like for example, when you send sensible information like the transformers that we sent at Siemens, they were penalties, late delivery penalties, late delivery penalties. Do you ever manage this, or have you ever managed this? Late delivery penalties.
No, never.
Never.
No,
But for
because
example, you know that you've been in industries like General Motors. If some of their suppliers deliver late, they give them huge fines. Right?
yeah, yeah, I know that.
So,
Yeah, of course, because it stops all the all the production sometimes.
exactly. So I don't know what the fines can be, but I've seen fines in the range of 5,000 per hour. Can be more, can be less, depending on the equipment. Delivery penalty is 5,000 pesos per hour. What other elements are part of a quotation for complex projects? For example, the delivery place. Where do you deliver the merchandise, the equipment, the machinery, etc. Right? Where can this be? Delivery place. Where do you deliver your goods, Mickey?
Uh, well, in my case is to the well. In the case of the sneakers, is to the final client. Uh, and yeah, and as I mentioned, uh, in this case, I always pay an insurance. So in
Okay.
that way, if something occurs during the trip, uh, the merchandise is covered by the insurance.
Insurance coverage.
Hmm.
This is also a technical aspect because some products that you deliver are normally non-sensible, are standard products, sneakers, right? But
Yeah.
if you send something that can, for example, if you send something that has oil in it and the oil spills, for example, spillage not covered.
Hmm.
If the equipment starts to spill and throw spill on the ground, and that ground provokes an accident by a truck that was behind you, you can say the spillage is not covered, or you can say the spillage is covered. That you're gonna cover any accident as a result of the spillage of the oil in the highway, which has happened. That has led to accidents. Some equipment have leaks, and that leak is a leak of oil, and that goes into the highway, and that highway now has leaks of oil, and then the car can be just running, and it's going to provoke an accident. So that's a serious problem. So you want to make sure that the spillage is covered or is not covered.
Yeah, it is true, and it's something that I remember now that you mention it. I think that perfumes normally they don't let you to insurance perfumes. I think that because it's like considered to hazardous materials because it's contains alcohol. So I think that they don't let you to insurance this type of products when you send it.
So perfumes are not insurable.
Well, at least in DHL, no. And normally I use DHL to deliver.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So how do you protect yourself in case that, for example, if it's a hazardous material and can explode or it can be volatile and something happens, who is responsible in that case?
Well, unfortunately, at the end, the responsible is the seller because because you cannot insurance it. So insurance the product. So at the end, the client is not responsible because in those cases, normally the final product doesn't is not delivered to the final client. So I would say to the seller, unfortunately.
So what are other products that cannot be insured that you know besides perfumes and I don't know equipment that have oil? I don't know if they can be insured or not. No, they can be insured, but then what you do is um, you protect yourself by saying third parties are protected up to an amount of, and then you can stipulate the amount 1 million pesos, half a million pesos, etc.
Mhm.
That means that if you involuntarily cause a damage with your merchandise to a third party, they can insure you up to a certain amount. I'm going to pay expenses because my insurance covers up to half a million pesos or 1 million
Mhm.
pesos or whatever you determine.
Mhm.
Right? This becomes technical in the sense that you need to determine who is responsible of any, for example, a spillage. Let's say that you are carrying a big equipment with oil, and for any reason there was a leak, and they started to leak, and that leak and that happened already. I don't know what the result was, but my brother had a friend. My daughter has a daughter. My brother has a daughter. The daughter had a classmate in the school in her Sweet 15, and the father of this partner of my niece suffered an accident in a highway from Querétaro to San Luis because he ran over a stain of oil in the highway,
Jeez.
and unfortunately he killed himself. He didn't know there was going to be an oil stain in the highway, but there was, and that caused his death. So I don't know if they investigated who had dropped that oil stain in the highway. Probably an equipment that was leaking. Maybe the truck was leaking, but someone should have been responsible. Well, what is the responsibility of that person, right? Or that equipment if the equipment was leaking? So I mean, things can happen. Things can happen. Is the point?
Yeah, yeah. In occasions, you can be insurance for everything, but something occurs and change completely, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And it's unfortunate, but well, yeah, things
Yeah.
like that happen occasionally. So there are many elements which a quotation can cover depending on the project, on the if it's something incredibly complex. For example, let's say that you are building an airport. You are the constructor. Imagine when you turn in the key to start operating the airport, all what it implies. So what does it imply to build a huge project like an airport? Imagine building an airport, Mickey. What do you think it entails? It includes building an airport. What would you consider as a civil engineer and manager of the project? What would you consider when you bid? When you bid the airport, right? And the government is going to pay for it. What do you have to include in your proposal?
Mm, well, all the machinery required, I think so.
Mm, machinery, but you are the constructor. Probably the machinery should be your machinery.
So that's like the total amount of the whole project.
The total amount, right? Total amount to land. What's going to happen with them? So the quotation becomes more complex, right? The proposal, the bid becomes more complex. The more complex is the equipment that you're offering, right?
Yeah.
Bids become more complex. The more complex is the equipment or service that you provide, right? So, what is complex and what is simple in terms of equipment and services, Mickey? What is a simple service and what is a complex service to provide, to sell?
Mm, well, a simple service could be like something that mm, it doesn't require like a lot of manage at the moment that is like deliberate.
For
And
example,
I don't know. I would say that sneakers are simple.
okay, delivering sneakers is
Clothing.
a simple service. What is a complex service?
A complex service. I think that first of all, something that has a high value, something that is expensive because it requires a lot of more. Um, yeah, like you must be like more conscious. It is correct. Like you need to be aware of all the risks that this has to be delivered, or all the insurances that you need to pay, or that the seller needs to pay. Um, yeah, I think so.
For example, delivering a huge turbine.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine. And imagine that you need to transport this turbine under bridges that have certain height, on certain roads that have a certain tolerance for weight, uh, certain speed because there are other cars circulating in the highway. Uh, so transporting certain equipment or machinery can be very challenging, and
Yeah.
not necessarily because it's big. Let's suppose, as you mentioned, that you are transporting hazardous materials, maybe medical equipment that has these radiation elements like cobalt. Some of the medical equipments have cobalt,
Hmm.
and cobalt is highly radioactive. What happens if there is a leak in the cobalt equipment,
Exactly.
right? So, what measures do you need to take when you transport something that is radioactive, Mickey?
First of all, I think that the same transportation requires a certain level of security, right? I think that is not like any type of transportation must be like a specific one. And a part of that, you need, yeah, you must have people who is uh, like knowledgeable about it. You cannot put you cannot put like any person to transport or to manage this type of materials.
Hmm. Totally, totally. So health, and when it poses a health risk to the people, right? To the
Mhm.
people,
Yeah.
like in terms of radioactive equipment or radioactive materials, some medical equipments have cobalt, and this cobalt, if there is a leak, it can cause severe damage to the people around. So you need to be very safe. Mm, some materials that you transport, for example, for the mining industry, can be explosive, as you mentioned a while ago. Not only perfumes, but other materials can be explosive. So you take very serious measures of security, as you mentioned a while ago. So that's very important, Mickey, as you correctly pointed out.
Yeah, it is.
Well, okay, well, this is a bit technical, the discussion, but
But interesting, to be honest. Um, since a long time ago, I was reading about Incoterms, and I think that the last times that I have read about it is with you, teacher. To be honest, I feel like a little bit. Uh, well, probably I know like the a little bit of the technical parts, but to be honest, I consider myself a little bit not new, but not pretty informed about Incoterms. I would say that my career was more focused on administration, management, and and it is a mess because at the beginning, when I was choosing my career, I was more interested in international trade in general. But yeah, it's something good that I'm practicing with you again, this type of terms, because well, I don't know. Now I'm working on my own projects, but I'm never close to the idea of try something new, right?
yeah, well, like everything, you acquire some experience and knowledge through practice, and you're gonna get there, Mickey, sooner or later, and sooner than we expect. I'm sure about that.
Mm. Thank you, teacher. Thank you for your time again.
Take care, Mickey. Good talking to you, and see you most likely next week if it's okay.
Yes,
And
sure.
say hello to
Yeah.
the family, please.
Yes, sure. Thank you very much. You as well. Take care and enjoy your week.
Thank you. Thanks, Mickey. See you soon then. Bye. Bye
See you
now.
soon, teacher. Take care.
Thank you. Bye. Take care. Bye, Mickey.